we're live once again. Mostly, anyway. Howdy, everybody. Hope y'all had a good week. I know it blew by rather quickly, at least it did for me. So, let's start with a hellos to everybody. And of course, we'll see who got the magnificent cookie. And it looks like Joe Rader of Black Rock Central Railroad, he got the whole cookie. Congrats, Joe. Hope you enjoyed that cookie. It was a big cookie. Yeah, it looks like Hot Dog Pilot Andy got the half cookie. No crumbs for you this week. Actually got the cookie. Anyway, good to see you here. And unfortunately, Gerald Stewart, he got the crumbs. Hey, you have to get in here a little earlier, Gerald, but good to see you here either way. And we also have John Nippenberg. How you doing, John? Good to see you. We have Dundas Junction Model Railroad. James, good to see you. He says here, I got the banana. I don't know what the hell that's about, but well, that's what gets you going. And we have GRE 2057. Good to see you. He said the same thing I did. Where the heck did this week go already? Time flies when you're having fun. Or not. Just flies, period. We also have Anfield Road layout in the loft. Lee, how's it going? Good to see you. Tom Grassy, good to see you. Skokie River Valley, John, how's it going? Good to see you. Let's see who else we got here. Looks like we got Train Man 1. Mickey, how's it going? Good to see you. Chuck Schreiber, hey Chuck, good to see you too. And the Gigliottis. Man, that is such a cool name. It just rolls off the tongue, you know. Good to see you here anyway. Let's see. Who else we got? That it? Oh, we got Crowley Express, Dwight. Hey, Dwight, how's it going? Good to see you here. Something's burning the shit out of my eye. Ugh. I don't know what the hell's going on with all this stuff. Can tell I've been spraying in here too. Maybe that has something to do with it. Anyway, now we got that out of the way. What did I do this past week? Well, yeah, I did a whole lot of stuff, but not so much in the train room. The only thing I actually did accomplish was on these model cars that I 3D printed. I got this one here. This is a 65 Malibu. It's all painted up, so I'll have to start getting to assembly at some point. And of course, the 6-wheel Pontiac Le Mans, the Millennium Princess. I'm not real impressed with the paint job. I may wet sand it and shoot it again, maybe even with the lighter color. I don't know. This seems awful dark. We'll see how that goes. But at least I got that much done anyway. What else? What the hell else did I do anyway? Mostly, like I said, I've been doing things outside. Been cleaning out the guest house. I had a ton of shit in there that needed to go. You know, knickknacks and stuff. My mother-in-law is quite the hoarder. And she left a lot of shit behind, and I had no use for it, and I can't store it, so I just, out in the can it went. Matter of fact, 6 big 55-gallon trash cans full of stuff. That'll give you an idea how much crap there was. Still have furniture in there, too, that I got to get rid of. I got a kitchen table, a Lazy Boy recliner, rocker, swivel chair, some fucking thing like that. And some shelving units, you know, self-contained ones. It's all got to go. And I can't even begin to advertise that place for rent until I get it cleaned out and, you know, ready to rock and roll for the new tenant, whoever that might be. So I've been working on that. Of course, I'm very slow. You know, I can only do so much, and I only have 3 garbage cans to work with per week. So I'm on my second week of, you know, actually all 3 cans are out at the curb right now, and when they're emptied tomorrow, I'll probably fill them again. but not with stuff in there. The guest house, like I said, is pretty well cleaned out except for the furniture. So, hey, Ray Burleson, how you doing? Good to see you here. And Sprue and Glue. Hey, Sprue and Glue, good to see you. And who else snuck in here? Well, I thought about that, but I feel, and that's still a possibility. I mean, it'd be partially furnished. There's no bed in there. And that would be like the major thing you need, and I'm not buying no damn bed. So, if I got, what the hell is it? Salvation Army coming on the 4th. If they don't take any of that stuff, it's probably going to stay there because I really can't move it, you know. I'll break down the shelves. I'll leave the kitchen table and the lazy boy in there, and they'll be partially furnished, right? And if they don't want them, I'll haul it out. Either way, I'm still only going to be able to get $700 a month out of it, which is fine, you know. Let's see, did I miss anybody here? Well, that's the problem. See, Sebring's kind of a backward, kind of a hick town. I don't even know if they have a local paper. I've never seen one. You know, I could stick a sign out by the road, but there's not enough traffic to garner any real interest, you know. So, like I said, remember, I'm out a little bit in the boonies. Not well. You've been here, Tom. So there's not a lot here. It's tough to advertise. Matter of fact, I'm probably gonna have to advertise the apartment, maybe on Craigslist or something similar to that, or possibly put a sign up on 27, the highway, because out here nobody's gonna see it. So we'll see how that goes here as soon as it's ready. So anyway, like I told you, I sold all the chickens. I sold the quail. I sold most of the coops. Well, the smaller coops. I got one that's falling apart back there, a small one. I got to break it down, and in the can it goes. And then I've got a lot of scrap wood all over the place from the remnants of the other coops. So that's all got to go in the trash. Now I've got one big wooden coop out back that I'd like to tear down, but I don't know when or even if that'll ever happen. The one beside the shed here I'm going to leave up. It's in good shape. I may get chickens down the road, and not a lot though, maybe 2, maybe 4 at the most. You know, to have 30 chickens is just lunacy. We'll see, you know. It all depends upon what the future brings. Hey, Frank, Stewart Fan 820. How you doing, Frank? Good to see you here. Yeah, that's true, Tom. They do have the marketplace. I could use that for rental, for to rent it out too, you know. I'm a little nervous about doing it that way though, because I gotta be really careful what I bring in here. You know, I don't want some lunatic or a problem tenant. I'm looking for preferably 55 or older, single woman, possibly disabled. You know, that's your best course. They're quiet, they keep to themselves, not likely to be throwing wild parties on the weekends or the weekdays. And your rent will get paid on time every month. It's a winning formula for me. That's what I've done in the past for the most part. And it's kind of worked out well for me. So I'll probably stick with that formula. So, you know, I mean, and of course, technically it's discriminatory to not rent somebody an apartment that you don't like or whatever, which is stupid. You know, it's your fucking place. You should be able to rent it to whoever the fuck you want. And if you don't, just tell them, hey, I don't like you. I don't trust you. I'm not renting you the place. I mean, if it were up to me, that's what I would do, you know, but I have to be a little more, I have to sidestep that a little bit, you know, make up a little white lie. Like, oh, I got another woman who's interested in it. That's what I did back in Naples. I had this old guy, he was probably in his 60s or 70s, with this 20-year-old side piece, I'm guessing. It wasn't his wife, you know, obviously his girlfriend. He was a drunk, you could tell, because he's driving a little scooter, Both of them were on the scooter, obviously didn't have a driver's license. Probably got popped for DUI too many times. And he come in and he wandered around. I said, well, I showed him the place. I told him what I wanted for it. And I said, the only thing is, I said, I've got somebody that was here before you that's really interested in it. I'm going to give them a shot because, first come, first serve. The guy had no intention of renting to him because, like I said, it's like, really? Some fucking drunk old man with a fucking college fucking piece of ass. No driver's license, probably a drunk. Nah. And she might have been a crack whore for all I know, I said, no, we're not going there. So you have to be careful. Hey, Tom's Trades and Things. Tom, how's it going? Good to see you. I missed your show Wednesday. I have an excuse. I was texting with my wife, and we'll talk about that a little later, maybe. But I looked up and I go, oh, shit, it's 9 o'clock. The show's over. My fault. So, like I said, I'm going to be kind of really careful about who I let in here because I don't want problems, I don't want anybody trashing the place. I don't want some crazy party person, throw some fucking wild parties on the weekends or whatever. Nice, quiet individual that just wants to fucking live out the rest of their life and, maybe engage in their hobbies or something. And that's the way to go. So, Frank interested in the place? $700, man. It's a good deal. I mean, it's small. It's a guest house, It's 450 square foot, has a bathroom, full bathroom in it, a shower, toilet, sink, that, whatever. It's got a kitchenette in there. But everything's paid for. You get free electric, free cable, or internet anyway, and free water. So, you think about it, that's really a hell of a deal. Because I'm seeing basically 1 bedroom, 1 bath places going for $900 and up. They might be a little bigger, but it's just crazy money they're getting for them, that's the way it goes. Tom says, Jim, you can watch Tom now. He's live. I know. Tom, what are you doing there? You setting a new record for live streams? You've been on almost every night from what I understand. All right, that's a good one. On the application says male, female, and other. If they check other, they are disqualified. Have low ceilings, no giraffes allowed. Yeah, that's true. Free hurricanes, you can't. Free hurricanes to beat it. Yeah, well, we don't really have a problem with a hurricane. I mean, yeah, they come through on occasion, and yeah, but that's everywhere. If you got the hurricanes here, you got earthquakes out west, you got blizzards up north, you got tornadoes in the Midwest. The one thing nice about hurricanes is you can prepare for them. You don't get much notice with a tornado, like a few seconds maybe or minutes. You don't get any fucking warning with an earthquake. Blizzard, you get plenty of warning, but it's actually in some ways it's worse than a hurricane. You don't have the damaging winds, but you're probably going to be trapped in your house for a while. It's rough on the vehicles if you don't have a garage. And for some reason, a lot of houses up north don't have garages, and I don't know why. We're down here, like every house has a garage practically. It doesn't make any sense. But it doesn't really matter where you go, you're going to have problems. Hey, Todd Armstrong, how you doing? Good to see you here. Easier than rendering videos. Yeah, that's probably true, Tom. Although I got my doubts about Rumble, man. Rumble's still got a lot of problems. And I honestly, I mean, you do what you want to do, obviously, but I wouldn't screw with it until they get it all ironed out, because I looked at doing live streams on Rumble, but right now it's just too problematic, so I'm not going to do it. I'll stay with, unfortunately, ScrewTube for now. Uh, yeah, that's funny. And Joe Rader says he's finally. I guess you weren't here earlier. Well, you're here now, right? Anyway, good to see you here. And John says you and a bunch of other guys, Todd. Yeah, there you go. Tom says Jim garages up here was used to store your junk in. I refuse to do that in my house. It was meant for the cars. Well, you're an oddity then because you are correct. You know. Now, my dad built a 2-car garage. Well, by today's standards, it'd be a 3-car garage because the thing was huge. You know. He built it on his house up there in Jersey, and both his work truck was parked in there and the family car. Yeah, because it just made sense to do that, you know. And plus, it was big enough he could actually store stuff in there. I mean, it was probably, I don't know how wide a car is, what, 8 foot? Probably, no, probably closer to 6 foot. The old sledge, you know. So, a 6 foot wide car. And there was probably 15-foot wide openings for each garage side. It was one garage, but 2 separate doors. And plus, it went back. You could have got a stretch limo in there. I mean, seriously, it was. My garage is a joke. It's a 2-car garage. Ain't no fucking way you're putting 2 cars in there unless you completely empty out the garage. Nothing else can go in there, and you're still going to be bumping doors. Well, if you used to get mad, why can't I put my Mustang in there? Because it won't fit. You know. But that's the way it goes. But yeah, I mean, if I were going to build a garage, I'd build one like my dad did. It would be way bigger than what you see nowadays. It's a joke. Let's see. Joe's having problems with his computer, doing an update. Mine did an update midweek. So all 3 of my computers did it, and they're not even supposed to. But apparently, whatever Gates is doing or Microsoft is overriding the don't do an updates thing there. So didn't do any damage to any machine, so I didn't really care. But they're not supposed to. I got all 3 of these machines updates are turned off, even the important ones, because I don't trust any of that shit anyway. James says, Thomas Grassy, my car will never go in the garage. What the hell's the point of having a garage then? You know. I mean, if you're not going to put a car in it, don't call it a garage, call it a storage room. At least they'll be properly labeled for it, you know. Ray says, what? Garages are for cars. I use them for as workshop, train room. Cars went in the driveway. Yeah, well, like I said, a lot of guys just don't do it. I had a garage once before in a house I was trying to buy before I had the stroke. It had a 2-car garage, and it was actually big enough to put 2 cars in there without bumping doors. It was an older house, and after I moved out of it, I couldn't afford it. I was, $2,000 a month mortgage. I couldn't work anymore, so that wasn't going to happen, so I had to walk away. But I had plenty of room to store stuff in there too. I had overhead racks, off the ceiling, so I could store stuff up on the racks, and it was deep enough to where I had a pallet of wall tiles in there that I had acquired, and I had a lot of, because as being a handyman, I got a lot of free stuff that was still good, so I kept a lot of it. I used some of it in the house. I used some of it elsewhere. But that garage was huge, and I tell you, after I lost, I said, "Damn, I really miss having a garage." But after that, I said, if I ever get a garage again, the fucking car is going in there, and whatever else I can get away with. I've got 2 workbenches on the left side, the toolbox in front of that. On the right side, I've got the riding mower. My scooter goes in behind that, and in front of all that, toward the back of the garage, I've got a little shelving unit there to store shit with. And that's it, There's no room for anything else to go in there, really. Oh, and my chest freezer is in front of the toolbox on the left side. And that's about all I could get in there. see what's going on. No, I'm still caught up again. So anyway, so I got a bunch of scrap outside in various areas. I'm gonna have to kind of grab it up somehow. Probably with riding a scooter around because I can't walk any real distances. And hopefully some of it'll fit in the trash can. I can hide it in that because otherwise they probably won't take it. And I'll stuff anything in a trash can if I think they'll take it. So Todd wants to know if I race my riding mower. Hell no, that thing's so slow it ain't funny. It's a John Deere, but it's like the cheapest one they make. It's a was a 48, 42 or 48 inch cut. I don't remember. It's not tiny or anything, but it doesn't have a hydrostat in it. It's just a belt drive. And I should have bought the one. I had the money at the time. I could have spent another $400. Got the better model with a hydrostat in there, but it had a lot more power. Probably been faster too. And I should have bought that, but I didn't. But at the time, I was in a hurry to get one because we were already here and the grass was already like a foot and a half tall. And I didn't know if I was going to have issues with, code enforcement or anything. So I got to get a mower. And Home Depot, that was all they had. At the time, they were out of all the other mowers. But I should have waited or went to Lowe's because Lowe's had them and I could have got one there. So, sometimes you don't always make good decisions when you're in a hurry. Tom says, Jim, on my Viper printing the bridge side using gray PLA, I then ran out, now using PETG gray, and it is printing great. Yeah, you can mix the filaments in there. The weird thing is it's going to be part of it's going to be more structurally sound than the other part. Like I said, the PETG does not flex at all. So you're going to have a very rigid side, which is fine, I guess. It should work without any problem, I assume that you changed your temperatures when you went over to the PETG because it does operate on much higher print head temperatures and higher print bed temperatures. So, whatever works, that's all that matters. I've probably seen stranger things done before. So, I got all that shit outside I got to take care of. That may take several weeks because there's a lot out there. And it's all small shit, Most of it will probably fit in the trash can. I don't generate much trash from the house. Maybe one bag a week of garbage, Maybe not even that much. Even here, I go 2 weeks before I fill up this trash can with assorted crap. Like I said, I only have the 3 cans. I have 2 regular cans and 1 recycle can. But they don't really recycle anymore, so you just throw anything you want in either can. They don't give a shit, Tom says, Jim, I can flex my PETG piece. Well, it might depend on the size, too. I mean, I got this here. This is hollow. And it flexes a little tiny bit. I mean, I'm putting a lot of pressure on there, and it moves like maybe that much. I mean, I'm sure if I took a hammer to it, I could snap it, but if that were PLA, it would be a lot more flex in there. So it is stronger, but probably not impervious to the flexing to some point. Of course, like you said, depends how big it is too. The bigger the piece, the more flex you're going to get in it. If you had a small part like that transport chair piece I showed you last week, there was no giving that at all. It would just snap off before it would give. So it was basically, for what I needed, an unusable part. Where the PLA had just enough flex in it to snap over the tube and not do any damage to anything. So it's, like you said, it depends on the application, what you're making. So, so I got that going on. Tomorrow, I know I've been saying this for weeks, but the weather's been kind of shitty here. It's either fucking cold or it's raining, or in some cases even too damn hot. I mean, we're getting a whole gamut here. I bought a floor jack, a 3-ton floor jack, uh, last week. Got a deal on it. Got it from Harbor Freight. It was regular $159. Got it for $119 on sale. And it's one on fast pump. 3 pumps brings it up 18 inches. And pretty slick, you know. So tomorrow I go out there, jack that front end up, get the ramps under it because I can't start it, obviously. And get the starter down and get that fucking thing fixed. I mean, I'm not looking forward to it. Yeah, Joe. Starter time. Yeah, it's too bad they don't put starters on the top of the fucking motor, you know. At least a 4-cylinder, I could probably do it from the top, but you know, that on that one you can't. But it's relatively easy to get off. It should be anyway. So the hardest part for me is, getting down there will be easy. I'll put a piece of cardboard on the ground and lay on that so I don't tear up my elbows and shit. The hard part's going to be getting back up. So I might put my scooter near there so I can use the basket of the scooter to pull myself up because I have more strength in my arms than I do in my legs. The only time I've ever been able to literally jump back up, and you guys are going to laugh at this, I was on the riding mower in the back and I hit the damn property stake. And the rear tire just drove right up of it and flipped the fucker over, right? I didn't get hurt or nothing because as soon as you leave the seat, it shuts off. So I was very pissed off that it happened, you know, and it fell over. I'm on the fucking ground, on my ass. God damn it. Without even thinking. I got right back up and and flipped it back over and jumped on it and rode. I don't know how the hell I did it. I said I wasn't thinking. So maybe it was one of those things where, you know, if you're not paying attention, you're not as fucked up as you think you are. But I haven't been able to do that since. So that was just, I think it was because I was so embarrassed. I mean, nobody's seen it. But I was so embarrassed and pissed off that I flipped the fucking mower. It was stupid on my part. That I just, you know, wasn't thinking and actually accomplished what normally couldn't be. Yeah, it's still funny though. I'm sure if you'd have seen it, you'd have got a good laugh. Joe, I did not, never did that before, but on metal would have been a good idea too. Okay. Joe says, I always do that too. You did that, man? And he said, well, I'm not using axle stand. I've got the ramps. So I'm going to put the one ramp on the driver's side backwards so that it would roll down the front, which it can't. But and then the other one I'll put properly. And then when I'm done, I'll jack it up again and turn the driver's side around, and I'll drive right off of it. But I don't have jack stands or what you call axle stands. I used to have a pair. I don't know what happened to them. They're gone. And I'm not buying another pair because they're $50 and I'm not blowing another $50. You know. Well, that's the problem, James. I don't have anybody to help me. You know. Normally the wife would be there assisting me, and of course, if something happened, she could call 911 or whatever. You know. I mean, I'm pretty careful. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to let the fucking thing fall on me, you know. And it does sit high enough where I don't think I would get crushed anyway. The car, on the other hand, yeah, that could be an issue, but the truck sits pretty high. But there's really nobody here to help me. I mean, my next door neighbor, Randy, but I don't really want to bother him. And what's he going to do? Stand there and watch me do shit? You know, I mean, he could probably help me get back up if I got in a real bind, but I'll get up one way or the other. It might just take a while. That's another thing my wife used to do is help me back up. You know, she was a real big help in many things. She thinks I took advantage of her, but really, she was the best helpmate I ever had. Which really sucked because, I can't do these things anymore. That's why I don't like doing anything where I got to get on my back, or even worse, on my knees. I'd rather do something either seat height or standing height, but I actually thought about using the come along to pull the truck up on its side and work on it standing up. It's kind of dangerous, but it would probably do damage to the body, and I didn't really want to damage anything because, your cable is going to want to crush the box or something, because it would be put a big strain on it. Now, when I was a young man, I worked at a junkyard. We had a, converted pickup truck. He had a big boom on the back of it and a hook. And I needed, what the hell? I changed the exhaust on my Impala. All right, we didn't have a lift anywhere there, so I said, fuck that. I hooked the hook up to the front bumper, took that car, stood it straight up, and changed out the exhaust. It was a piece of cake. I was done, lowered it back down, and good to go. It's a little weird, but, like I said, I did whatever I thought was, easier for me to do. Mom and Son Train fans, how you doing, Tammy and Ray? Good to see y'all here. Want to stop in and say hello, give a thumbs up, can't stay dishes. Yeah, I hear you. Well, that's good. I'm glad you popped in anyway. And thanks for the thumbs up. Tom says, only once in my life I fell and could not get back up. That's because my 950-pound motorcycle landed on my leg. I was pinned down until someone stopped and helped me. Luckily, no broken bones. Oh, yeah, no doubt, man. Oh, you driving a Harley? Them motherfuckers are like a car, man. When I rode, thank God, I never had any, I never had to fall one. I never laid one down. Because I would probably be in the same boat, But yeah, that's kind of an exception to falling down or not being able to get back up. Now, when you get older, then you got to be like that old lady on the TV commercial. Help me, I'm falling down and I can't get up. And I shouldn't laugh because, fuck, that could be me, And I know a few other people that would be in the same boat. And that's the unfortunate part of aging, that shit happens. James says, I can't do that stuff anymore. My blood pressure was high today, had to rest. Yeah, you want to be careful. You don't want to have a stroke. Ask me how I know. There are a lot of things that I can't. I said, talking to my wife about flying, and she refuses to get on a plane. I don't blame her. I won't get on a plane, but for different reasons. I mean, I don't like flying, but if I had to, I would, under normal circumstances, I would get on one, But because I'm a stroke victim, stroke survivor, I guess you can call it, and I was told by the doctors, avoid high altitudes, like in an airplane, because it could actually cause another stroke. I said, well, fuck that. I'm not going through that shit again just to get from point A to point B in a bigger hurry than driving. So, but of course, the problem lately, there was a mid-air plane crash, I think in, where was it, Dallas, Texas, I think? And then there was that one up in Canada, one that flipped over. Turns out a bunch of women were flying the plane. DEI hires, I mean, what the hell's going on here, They've had collisions on the ground. And that one jet that, there was the rock group on that. I can't remember their name. I know them. Actually, I was friends with them before they became famous. The nose gear broke off on landing, and the plane skidded into another plane. Thank God nobody was killed, but I think the pilot he was injured pretty bad. I don't think he died. No, he was alive, but he was injured pretty badly. But the rest of the people on the plane, they were okay. But I mean, this is like an everyday occurrence now where planes are crashing. You gotta be a fucking lunatic to get on one. Yeah, well, that's everywhere though, James, black ice. So Tom says I dropped my bike twice driving both times was 5 miles per hour and both was on stones going around a turn. Yeah, that'll happen. Well, yeah, it was the same thing though, James. It still went up upside down, you know. I'm not sure what happened. Nobody seems to really know, but they are blaming it on pilot error. And it turns out the pilot and co-pilot were women, and they really weren't qualified to fly that airplane. You know. I got the good news is all the passengers on the plane each get 30 grand each for their aggravation. And one guy said, well, he should sue them for more. I'm like, fuck, $30,000? I'd take it, you know. Never get in a fucking plane again. But I'd take the 30 grand and say, you know, works for me. So, you know, it's just, but I mean, it's weird, you know. So, but that's the main reason I won't go up. Because I was specifically told by the doctors that I should avoid that type of situation where I'm in a pressurized vehicle at high altitude. So like I said, it's just not worth it, you know. Of course, my fear of heights have gotten worse since the stroke. I don't know if that would really make a difference in an airplane, but it could. I'd probably have to be knocked out before they put me on the plane, you know, because if I knew about it, I'd probably totally freak anyway. So I just avoid that fucking bullshit. You know. And my ex-wife, she came down to, well, went back when we were still together. She went up to visit her dad because he passed away up there. And she came back. She was supposed to come back on the plane and she got drunk because she was so afraid of flying. And they wouldn't let her back on the plane because she was too inebriated to get on the plane. She had to delay her flight for a day. They rebooked her, you know, and put her on. But she was terrified. She just didn't want to be on that damn airplane. I said, well, you know, I don't blame you. Hey, look, if men were meant to fly, we'd have fucking wings, right? So, yeah, absolutely. You know, like I said, it would be a problem. You know. Now I've flown. I mean, I haven't been in a commercial jet since I was 10 years old. You know, we came down in one the first time we visited in 1967. Actually, it wasn't 10. I was 8 years old. That was my first experience in a commercial jet. And back then, all they had was a 707. They didn't have nothing bigger. And it was kind of cool. I mean, it didn't bother me, you know. What scared the shit, I think I might have told the story. We came down. We landed in Miami at Kennedy International. I think it was called Kennedy at that time. And my dad wanted to look at land over here in Naples. So all they had was a DC-3, a prop plane. And I didn't know anything about airplanes, you know. I mean, except that, you know, I wasn't real thrilled with the idea. Anyway, and that was a long time ago. This is like I said, 1967. There was no rules or anything back then. They didn't inspect you or you have to go through metal detector. None of that shit, you know. It was just get on the fucking plane. You could bring food on. Probably could bring your gun if you had one. They just didn't care, you know. Well, anyway, we're standing out there in the airfield waiting to board this DC-3. Of course, she's got to start the fucker first, right? Well, like I said, I didn't know anything about DC-3s. Now, I know now that it's a World War II cargo plane. That was its original service uh, thing. But it's one of the most reliable and safest airplanes probably ever built. But I didn't know that at the time, you know. Yeah, this is I'm 7 or 8 years old. This guy tried to start. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. The fucking he kept stalling out. It's smoking like all hell, right? And I'm thinking, I ain't getting on that plane, Dad. There ain't no way. It ain't gonna fly. We'll wind up crashing and dying. He said, no, it'll be fine. I go, bullshit. Well, I didn't say bullshit because I didn't cuss then, but I go, no way, I don't believe that. He finally got the one engine started. I think he started the right side engine first. The left engine started a lot better. It kicked right off and and the smoke cleared up, and it didn't sound too bad. They taxied it around. And then they brought the stairs up, and we all boarded the plane, right? And I was a little nervous, sort of, but not like terribly so, because at least it sounded like it was running pretty good. So we get up in the air. Of course, you don't. One thing you don't suffer really in a jet is air pockets, but they're real common in a prop plane. First air pocket we got, man, it was like my stomach was gone. I didn't know what the hell was going on. Took me a while to get used to it because I really didn't like it at first. I'm thinking, man, we're gonna die, you know. It was only a 1 hour flight to go from Miami to Naples because it's only like I think it's like 90 miles, so the plane flies I think at 200. So it was less than an hour really, but and of course when we landed, I was glad to get off it, but then we had to take it back to go back to Miami. And I was kind of like more used to it at that point, so it wasn't too bad. But that was my own experience with aircraft back in the day. They said later on, I was dating a woman, she was a pilot, and she knew that I liked airplanes because I used to fly, I had a flight simulator for the computer, and I did pretty good, especially with a DC-3. I wanted to fly one, but I couldn't find one that had one that somebody that had one that would let me fly it. But anyway, she got me for my birthday some free flying time. I got to fly 2 airplanes that day. I flied a Piper Cub, or flown, excuse me, flown a Piper Cub and a Beechcraft twin engine. It was a blast. I had fun, but one of the problems I realized I had off the bat was because of my, this is before the stroke, obviously, but because of my fear of heights, I had ear issues that I wasn't aware of. I couldn't fly looking out the window. I had to fly by instrument. Thank God I knew how to do it because running on the flight simulator, you know. Because the pilot that was with me, he says, you know, he said, what's the matter? He says, well, I don't know whether we're up or down, you know. I mean, the altimeter says we're flying level, not inverted, so I guess we're okay, you know. Or the artificial horizon, rather. But if I looked out the window, I really couldn't tell what the fuck was going on. So I'm flying by instrument. He said, I never see anybody do IFR flying the first time up. I said, well, like I said, I've had practice on the simulator, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And I had fun, but, you know, it was a little scary. We were in the twin engine Beech. And he wouldn't let me land it because I was in the co-pilot position and there wasn't, the toe brakes weren't on the co-pilot side. They were only on the pilot side. When I flew the Piper Cub, it had the brakes on both pilot and co-pilot. Everything was, you know, doubled. And I was in the pilot seat, so I got to take off and land with it, which was cool. I actually wanted to land the Beech, but it didn't have the stuff on my side of the plane. So he's coming in for a landing. He goes to lock the gear down, right? Gets a fucking warning light. One of the front landing gear went down and the left went down, but the right didn't. It didn't lock. So he started to panic, right? And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, I'm the one who should be panicking, you know. My girlfriend at the time, Sabrina, she's in the back seat behind us. She like oblivious to anything. She didn't care, you know. And so he's starting to freak out. He's starting to kick the handle and everything, you know. He's beating on it. And I said, dude, calm down. We'll stay in there till we get it to lock, and then we'll land, you know. Well, what if we can't get it to lock? He said, we belly land it. And you're going to be in a world of shit because it turns out it wasn't his fucking plane. We borrowed it without permission. And it was fairly new, so it was probably a few $100,000, you know. And he would have been in a world of shit because, like you said, basically we sort of stole it. But eventually the gear did lock and we were able to land the plane. And that was cool. And that was my time flying the aircraft. I had roughly about 3 hours flight time between the two airplanes. But I had a student pilot's license at the time. I wanted to get my regular pilot's license. I went to see the flight surgeon, and he looked in my ears and he said, "No, you can't do it. You'll never get a license because you've got nerve damage in both your ears, and it's going to affect your ability to visual flight rule, VFR." So I said, "Yeah, I guess." So that was the end of that, you know. which kind of sucked because I would have liked to have pursued it, you know. And if I'm flying the fucking thing, I was more confident. Somebody else is flying it. I don't trust anybody. I have trust issues. Same in a car. I'm a terrible passenger in a car. You know, ask my wife. She'll tell you. She scares the shit out of me. And she's a good driver, but she still scares the shit out of me because she doesn't drive the same way I do. And I'm a crazy driver, but I'm always 10 steps ahead of everything that's going on. You know, I know what that car down the road is going to do. He's going to pull out in front of me. I know if he's going to. I'm always right. I don't know if I'm psychic or what, but I tend to read people on the road and determine what, and I've avoided a lot of accidents that way, you know. But yeah, I'm a terrible passenger, so, you know, that's the way it goes. Let's see here, what we got here. Ray says, I hate flying oops, wrong one. Yeah, come on, there we go. I hate flying, had to do it for my job, but when I had a choice, rode the train. I don't blame you. I prefer to train over an airplane either way. I mean, without a doubt. The only other name for Miami International Airport was 1910. It was called by it. Well, it's Kennedy Airport now, I think, or maybe it's Miami National. I don't know. I know it went through a name change because they got the Kennedy one up in New York, and they also had the Kennedy one in Miami. Go figure. Remember, this was in the 60s, so it's the same thing with Cape Canaveral. That used to be Cape Kennedy. And then they changed it to Cape Canaveral. They know what the fuck they're doing down here. This is a common issue in Florida. Let's just change the names of roads and buildings. Nobody will care, you know. If you've been down here, if you haven't been down here for a few weeks or months, you don't know what the fuck's going on because everything changed. Racist sounds like a Roadrunner skit. Here or there, we'll land anywhere. I mean, the most fun I had, I was in the Piper, and I asked the pilot, I said, do you mind if I fly low? He says, how low? I said, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 foot off the ground. He says, you know, that's dangerous. I says, yeah, but I'm I'm confident we'll be okay. I mean, yeah, if we fuck up, we'll probably die, but I don't know, that plane only went, I think, 160, 170 mile an hour, 100 knots, whatever. It wasn't incredibly fast, but it was the coolest thing. I was buzzing the fucking cows, man. I mean, and I have no issue with speed. I can deal with speed, you know. It's the height. When I was up at 7,000 feet, I couldn't tell if I was moving or not until I did a maneuver. Then all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're moving. But I really enjoyed being close to the ground, you know. Scraping the cows, man. That was tons of fun, you know. Yeah, it was dangerous, but oh, what the fuck? You only live once, right? Hot Dog says, I hate people who accelerate to a stop. Guilty. I don't necessarily accelerate, but I like to use the brakes the last minute. And that's actually the proper way. If you ride the brake, you'll heat up your rotors. They'll warp on you. You wear out your brake pads or shoes, whichever you got, a lot quicker if you ride the brake to come to a slower stop. I like to not necessarily jam it, but I wait till last minute and hit the brakes a little harder than normal, and then I come to my stop. You know? The other time I speed up is where there's traffic lights. People slow down at the traffic lights. It's like they're waiting for it to turn red so they can stop. Not me. I want to get through that fucker before it changes. I'll speed up a little bit, 5, 10 mile an hour, sometimes more. You know. I'm sure I'm not the only one that does it, but I'm probably one of the few. DWM Trains, Dave, how's it going, man? Good to see you here. All right, John, well, have a good one, man. We'll see you next time. Thanks for popping in, and have a good weekend, and, well, enjoy your next week. Let's see. Andy says, shit, ride them and wear them out. Well, they're expensive now, man. I put new brakes on my Marquis, and it kind of didn't really need them. I think I changed them about 85,000 miles. They were the original brakes on the car. And really what I wanted to do is upgrade. So I bought the ceramic pads and the drilled out rotors for extra cooling capacity. And I figured if I'm going to pull the rotors off, I might as well change the pads too. And I got a pretty good deal. I think I paid $180 for all four wheels. Rotors front and back and pads all the way around. But if you go to a shop, last I heard, they're like anywhere between $400 and $600 to do a brake job. That's fucking it. That's insane. I used to do brake jobs for $75 back in the day, when they were cheap. But now I guess, like I said, they got the ceramic pads. Everything's more expensive. Now the rotors were actually pretty cheap. I think the rotors were only like $30 each. And they were drilled. So for extra cooling capacity, they're nice rotors, man. And I think they're a hair bit bigger than the stock ones. Maybe. No. Well, the same size. You'd have to change the calipers too. And I was going to put different calipers on. I was going to get them fancy ones like they got on the Ferraris and shit. Yeah. Fucking $200 each. I don't think so. Ray says, little known fact, Roadrunner owned Acme. He only sold defective parts to the Coyote. I did not know that. Not surprised, though. I never watched that cartoon. The last one I did, where the Coyote sues the Acme company. I don't know if he won or not. I don't know how that panned out, but if I ever come across the cartoon, I'll watch it. And I swear to you, there was a cartoon out, it was some years back, where the Coyote actually caught the Roadrunner and cooked him up and ate him. And yet nobody seems to know about it. I might have been delusional. Maybe I was dreaming about it, but I'm telling you, I seen the cartoon where the Coyote finally gets the Roadrunner, cooks him up and eats that son of a bitch. That's how it ends out. He's at the dinner table eating the Roadrunner. And I'm pretty sure they did one. I mean, maybe it wasn't a sanctioned cartoon, from whoever makes them, but somebody did it, and it was really cool. Because, I mean, how many of us have watched Coyote and Roadrunner for years, and you're thinking, when the fuck is that stupid Coyote going to get that son of a bitch and eat him? See, GRE 2050 says, I've seen that one as well, so I'm not delusional then. I did actually see it. It was a long time ago, probably 20 years or more. But it was a long time. Hey, Russ is rocking O and HO trains and stuff. How you doing, Russ? Because Wile E. Coyote was a real dumbass. Yeah, he was. Kind of. Joe says, in your dreams, Jim, possibly. Tom Grassley says, Jim, how much did you have to drink that day? I was never really much of a drinker. I mean, I was a beer drinker here and there. I drank a lot of rum, but I never got drunk, I always stopped before I got to that point. When did Dick D catch the pigeon? Oh, Dick Dastardly, maybe? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that one. But yeah, that's the problem with those cartoons or any show where, there's a hunter and then the hunted and the hunter never gets. Well, it's like Bugs Bunny, Now, what the hell's the guy's name with the shotgun? I forgot his name, but he never kills Bugs Bunny. What? Dude, you shot this rabbit how many fucking times point blank, and he still hasn't died. It's bullshit. Elmer Fudd, there you go. I couldn't think of it. Thank you for that. I mean, seriously, I'm sure they did it that way because, it'd be a short-lived cartoon of, killed Bugs Bunny, and kids would probably have many strokes over it, He killed Bugs Bunny. I don't know if you remember, well, you probably didn't. It was down in Naples. It was I think it was back in the 80s, early 80s. And they had a radio show. I don't know if it was syndicated or not. It might have been, but they killed Santa Claus on the show right before Christmas. I got sued and everything, man. I mean, the kids were fucking freaking out. The parents were freaking out. A bunch of people sued the radio station. They got booted off the air, I think, for like 3 months. You know, it was pretty fucked up, but it was funny as shit, you know. I'm thinking, damn, what the hell's wrong with these people? Santa Claus isn't even fucking real. You know, you can't kill something that's not real. Not really kill them anyway. So, I mean, what the fuck? It was still funny, though, nevertheless. Swedish Chef didn't have any trouble with the chicken. That's true. That was the Muppets, wasn't it? Yeah, he said funny stuff, you know, but you know, the people don't, you know, they have no sense of humor anymore. I don't think that's part of the problem. I always had a sense of humor. It's like, you know, well, they said, you know, I used to watch Star Trek and Star Wars and all these other different sci-fi space movies because I really get into that shit. I know it's not real. It never will be. You know, I don't even think there's actually space out there, but I thought, wouldn't it be cool if they did like a 4-hour movie with everybody, you know, Star Wars, Star Trek, and a whole bunch of other ones, you know, the offshoot ones, and got them into a big galactic war and see who wins. That would be fucking cool, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't know who would win, but it doesn't matter. It would just be cool to watch, but nobody's ever done it, you know. Oh, absolutely, Russ. That's because them fucking libtards, and they got no fucking sense of humor. They're all a bunch of jackasses anyway. Or what do they call them now, a jackwagon? You know, if you don't have that kind of sense of humor, you probably shouldn't even be breathing. You know, it's fucked up. Hey, Rick Strange, how's it going? Rick, good to see you. Says, look how many times Daffy Duck got shot in the beer and had his beard. Oh, you mean his whatever the fuck you call it, his beak. His beak. Yeah, that's funny. I mean, a couple times it went around the side of his face and shit. You know. Tom and Jerry with the ants. I remember that one. Tom says Jim Captain Kirkwood went head down. No, I don't know, man. He might. Yeah, because he wasn't supposed to die. I mean, they did finally kill him off in one of the movies, but um, the problem you have, if you brought Star Wars into it, now you got Darth Vader. Well, Darth Vader would have been a big problem. So, I don't know. Jerry says the left is called a bunch of donkeys. Well, they are a bunch of donkeys. Actually, a bunch of jackasses is a more appropriate term. That's true. He did blow himself up a lot, you know. Well, it's like, you know, the Three Stooges. Almost you older guys that probably remember. Ah, he's still burning. The Three Stooges. I love the Three Stooges. I mean, I grew up with them. I've even watched them later on in life, and I think I still got a bunch of movies I got to watch again. The Three Stooges, but we were smart though. I mean, they didn't have any disclaimers on the show. Like today, you watch a cartoon, there's all kinds of disclaimers, and some idiot at the end will say, you know, it's the moral of the story, kids. You know, don't do this. We didn't need none of that shit because we had a fucking brain. You know, I mean, I never once tried to swing a sledgehammer with a friend, you know, or a saw, because you know we knew it was dangerous. You just didn't do that shit. TV was fake, and it was all in fun, and we were all props. Today, the kids don't seem to know that shit, so they got to put disclaimers on there. You know, kids don't do this at home. You know why? Because they're a bunch of fucking idiots. Yeah. I hope so, man. That would be the biggest boon for me is to lose the property tax. I know they were talking about it. They want to replace it with a sales tax, which is fine. You know, I don't buy a lot of shit. If I have to spend a little bit more money for when I do, that's fine. But that $1,300 a year, that really hurts. And, if it decides to go up, which it usually does, that's that much. That's much. When you're on a fixed income, that kind of shit will break you. And a lot of people were forced out of their houses, like back in Naples, because the property taxes, because values went up for a while there, and their property taxes quadrupled, quintupled in some cases. My old house, I was paying thirteen to $1,500 a year in property tax. It's now over 4,000. I would have lost the house if I'd have stayed there. I couldn't pay the tax. You know, that was one of the reasons. That was the primary reason I moved, because I knew that eventually I'd be priced out of the place. My dad used to talk about it when he was alive. He says, eventually these houses are going to be worth $1 million, and none of us will be able to stay here because we can't afford it. The property taxes. Well, shit, he was right, because my old house, the last sale on it was $1.1 million. 2,000 square foot house, built in 1969. It was 13,000 new. I mean, it's just ridiculous, Laurel and Hardy with the damn piano. Yeah, I remember. I was never a big fan of Laurel and Hardy. And the other one too. What was the other one that they did? Oh, like it's on the tip of my tongue. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. But I wasn't a big fan of them either. Because you know why? Because it was too repetitive. The Three Stooges was kind of repetitive, but there was more of a story to the Three Stooges. They actually accomplished something. Or the other two, Abbott and Costello. That was, yeah. Abbott used to drive me, or no, it was Costello. Which was the fat one? It was Costello. Was the fat one, right? He used to drive me fucking nuts. Like somebody beat the hell out of that fat bastard, or he me done with it. Yeah, Saturday morning cartoons are priceless. Yes, they were. This Wile E. Coyote episode with the train and the TNT, that really sealed the cake with me. I don't remember that one, but I probably seen it because I seen them all. But at the top of my head, I don't remember it. Joe says, in our state is raising property taxes again. Of course. Joe says, Maryland is trying to kill off the middle class one tax. Well, that's because they're a blue state, man. You got libtards running it. Democrats. Anytime you got a blue state, man, it's just, they're going to tax you out of existence. New Jersey's the same way. Ask Tom. He'll tell you. They got the highest property tax, I think, in the whole damn country. And I'm from New Jersey, but I could never move back there. I couldn't afford it. The taxes, I don't even think I'd have enough money to pay the taxes. The property taxes based on my income. Forget about the rest, Russ says, my dad paid $19,500 for his first house in 1965. Must have been a nice place because that was pretty pricey. Ask Russ from Oregon. Yeah, there you go. Okay down there, Pogo? Joking or sneezing? What are you doing? It's ridiculous, This whole bullshit with taxes needs to stop. Anyway, now, the good news is Trump is going to do away with the IRS, which is a good thing. It's ridiculous. Possibly Florida, I think. I think we have the lowest property taxes in the whole country. Pretty close anyway. So, and the reason being is we have so much tourism. And they said that the tourism offsets the tax base. Of course, if we lost tourism, then I don't know what would happen. We'd probably be fucked. Well, yeah, I mean, at the very least, when you turn 65, taxes should be done. You've paid your dues. Now you get to live tax-free for the rest of your life, Or if you're a veteran. I think any veteran that fought in a war and comes back, whether whole or in part, should be given a fucking house for free, never have to pay taxes on anything, and get whatever food stamps or medical he needs to be able to live out the rest of his life for his sacrifice. But that's just me, That's the way I would do it. Yes, Russ, blue states suck. The good news is that I think they're slowly going to fade out and they're going to turn red. Yeah. I was talking to my wife today, and she was, Michigan. I says, you're in a blue state, things are going to suck this. No, we're red now. Really? Okay. I wasn't aware of that, but they still got Whitmer as the governor. And she's a little fucking Nazi commie bitch. you know. So they got to get rid of her, and then they might be okay. Rick says our governor said last night we had a surplus of money. Yeah, well, we probably do. Especially once we cut off USAID and shit, because they've literally been blowing almost trillions of dollars on stupid. I was watching the news today, and they were saying that USAID gave, was it 120 million or something? I don't remember the exact number, to the fucking Taliban. Why are we giving money to the Taliban? Aren't they our fucking enemy? It's bullshit, man. They're just pissing money. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're fueling both sides of the war, I guess. So thank God that, Elon Musk and Trump with the Doge, they're putting a stop to that shit. Of course, a fucking judge tried to stop Trump from shutting off the USAID money. I believe I think they removed him from the bench. And they needed to, because he's a fucking traitor. So let me get this straight. A judge says, oh no, it's okay to squander our fucking hard-earned tax money and give it to our enemies and everybody else, or use it for money laundering, because you're not allowed to fucking stop the flow of the money. Bullshit. Joe says, my grandmother had this house built for 12 grand in 58. My dad bought his house up north for $5,000. I believe he bought it in 1956. And that was, he paid it off in like 5 years, or 10 years, something like that. He had a 30-year loan on it, but he didn't need 30 to pay it off. Russ says, at the present rate, my wife and I will be on the street in 10 to 12 years, probably, unless you fucking move. Gigliotti says, hey, Jim, how much are those printers behind you? Just curious. They're under 200. They're both Anycubic Vipers. And I believe one was 160, and the other one I think was 180 something, I think. But they don't make the Viper anymore. Now they're only making the Cobra. And I don't know what the price is on that, but probably pretty close to that. So, depending upon which model you get. Rick says, I think it has an agenda when her term is up, Michigan. Yeah, probably. Like I said, she should have been executed for treason during the whole COVID thing. Like I said, she was like a good little Nazi, man, You will wear the mask. You will stay home, or else I'll arrest you. No, they should have took that bitch out and been done with it, And she looks like she looks like one of them fucking broads in the Nazi SS movies they used to make, after the war. I mean, she just got that, got that look about her. Yeah, that's true, Ray. That would suck. The government, it's making our blood boil. Like I said, there's talk that Trump is going to give us all $5,000 as a refund of all the tax money that was squandered. I don't know if I believe that or not. I got to see it first, but even then, that's not much. 50,000, now we're talking, But whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter at this point. I mean, he's doing a lot of things that are going to piss a lot of people off, I was explaining to my wife that, she's kind of bitching because we're legally married still. She says, if we got divorced, I'd be able to get all kinds of help from the government. I said, no, you wouldn't. It basically stopped Medicaid. because of Trump. He says, because it's being wasted. He said there's 29-year-old guys sitting on their couch playing fucking video games, collecting fucking Medicaid. It's bullshit, So they're making it increasingly almost impossible to get it now. I think you're going to shut it down altogether. Same with the food stamps. I talked about this on my last Wise Guy video. They want to do away with the EBT card and give you what they call a harvest box. You'll get a box of food once a month. You don't get to pick the food. It's all going to be canned goods and non-perishables. It's got to be a pretty big box. You can need quite a bit of food to feed just one person for a month. And if you got a family, you're going to, how if it's a box per person or what? You'll get canned beans and canned vegetables and canned fruit, maybe some bread, peanut butter, powdered milk. And that's what they want to give people. And they're going to make you work for it. You got to work a minimum 30 hours a week to qualify for the harvest box. I'm kind of okay with that because, like I said, too many people have been raping the system for too long, and we're paying for that. And of course, my biggest beef always was, how come Social Security's running out of money, but welfare and food stamps never do? Well, if we took some of that excess money that could be saved, put it back in the Social Security Trust Fund, maybe Social Security wouldn't be running out of money. But, like I said, he's pissing people off a little bit, but I think it's a necessity. I don't qualify for food stamps because I make too much money. Figure that one out, right? I actually applied for them once. They gave me $14 worth for the month. It's like, you better keep this because you need it more than I do. I'm spending $300 a month on food. And trust me, I'm not eating that great, I think they should make exceptions for the disabled and for the elderly. Like I said, and I talked about this, two people walk into the food stamp office, which I don't think they even have anymore, but let's say they still did. And one's a young guy or a young woman, and it's like, I need food stamps. And they're going to go, well, can you work? Well, of course not. Otherwise, I wouldn't be needing food stamps. No. You look like you're capable of working. You're not getting any. And if some old biddy or some old guy comes in on his power chair or with a cane, you get whatever food stamps you need. But we're not allowed to do that for some stupid reason. I mean, I remember back in the day when they did do that, and it wasn't illegal, but now it's discriminatory if you single out certain people that they're not qualified. Everybody's qualified, which is bullshit. Yeah, well, absolutely, Joe. There's no doubt about that. Pocahontas, what the hell is her real name? I can't remember, but she's freaking out, man. She was getting millions from USAID. And now that money's cut off, so she got cut off. Oh, well, too bad. So sad, They said all the news companies were getting money from there and there. No, our tax dollars was paying all these people to fuck us over anyway, which is bullshit, And he says, pretty soon our energy production will be provided by unicorn farts and rainbows. Probably. Ray says, I never got my Biden stimulus check. I got the stimulus check from him, but if I get one from Trump, great, but I wouldn't hold my breath either. Russ is like the food bank. Yeah, but even at the food bank, you get to pick what you want to eat. With the harvest box, you don't pick at all. I mean, you get what they give you, and you either eat it or you don't, I don't really agree with, I do and I don't. Me, I'm a very picky eater, okay? I don't eat beans. I don't like beans. I don't really like much of any canned food. I don't eat vegetables, so that's out of the question, especially in a can. I'm going to go fucking hungry. And I damn sure don't drink powdered milk. I don't drink milk at all, period. So, that's not going to be good for picky eaters, but, like I said, I managed to, put aside enough money to buy my own foods. It's not a big deal. I don't go out and buy filet mignons or you know, expensive meats or anything because I can't afford it, you know. But I'm eating well enough to where, I'm somewhat healthy for it. Oh yeah, well that's another joke too. Now they're trying to walk that back. They said there was something like 6,000 people that were over 300 years old that were collecting Social Security. I don't doubt that because, and I pointed out right when my dad passed, he was 91. I had to alert Social Security office to stop his payments. I mean, they might have caught it someday, who knows? I would have got in trouble because it was my responsibility because I had power of attorney over him. But I had to notify them that he passed and to stop the money. Because otherwise, they actually did slip the last check through. They took it back because, I told them, well, he passed on this date. So technically, he doesn't get to keep that money. So how many people, though, he said, if you live alone and you have no family and you drop dead in your house and nobody notifies the Social Security office, how long do those checks keep coming in? And especially if you got a crooked family member, they're going to take that money, especially if they have power of attorney, and spend it on themselves. And there have been several people got caught doing that. So I know that shit happens. If they tell you that it's not, they're fucking lying. That's true. If you can drive an Escalade, you don't need an EBT card. I said this, well, it's the same thing, These people, they're so poor, they got to get food stamps and welfare, but they're talking on a $1,300 iPhone. How the fuck did they get that thing? Well, I tell you how. They sold some of the food stamps, probably sold some drugs to boot, and that's how they got the, if you're using a $1,300 iPhone, you shouldn't get shit, Got your $200 Android, then we'll give you some food stamps, right? Ray says, I hope I still get SS when I'm 300 years old. I tell you what, I'd just like to see 300, boy. Wouldn't that be cool? The 300 fucking years. Oh, I know, Tom, and I pointed that out too. Well, food stamps and welfare, both are generational. You got grandparents, parents, kids, grandkids. The whole family line has been taking welfare and food stamps. Unfortunately, and I don't like to say it, but, most of them are people of color. And that shit needs to stop. If you are capable of working, you're not disabled, you're not mentally fucking totally screwed, or you're not old, you need to get off your ass and get a fucking job. And that's what they're going to do. They're not going to give you any of this shit. Like you said, the food stamps or the harvest box, you got to be employed 30 hours a week in order to qualify for them. Otherwise, you don't get them. And I'm okay with that. Ray says, I don't qualify for anything, but then I was born here. The only way to get stuff is to leave, renounce your U.S. citizenship, jump the fence, come back, and speak a different language, and you'll get everything you need. They were giving them illegals Visa debit cards were preloaded with $15,000 on them. That's fucking crazy, That's our fucking money. Hey, Trackside Mike, how you doing? Good to see you here, man. Oops, it jumped on me again. Damn it. No. If we move to Mexico, we'll be jailed. Hey, we're the only country that takes care of illegals. Everybody else puts your ass in prison or in front of a fire engine. Do that in Korea, North Korea. You'll wind up wearing a bullet. That's something you'll get for free. Joe says up here, the funeral home notifies ESS. Oh, really? Yeah, I had to do all that shit. Matter of fact, when my dad passed, well, he was I wanted to get him a veteran's burial. I had to get his DD 20 or DD 40? It proves that he was in the service. It was DD 40. I had to get his DD 40 from the Veterans Administration. I had to get death certificates from the funeral home. I had a whole bunch of shit I had to take care of, man. And really, I had no clue what the fuck to do because I never had to deal with anybody dying. He was the first one. So it was an interesting journey without a doubt. Yeah, down here nobody does shit. You get to do everything yourself. And even then, I still had a doctor try and screw him or his estate out of money that I knew for a fact was paid in full and had the receipts to prove it. But that fucker tried to pull a fast one. I had to, have a little talk with him, straighten his ass out. Yeah, now they just take the money back because it's mostly a direct deposit, and they could take it back and just as quickly as they give it to you. I agree, Russ, without a doubt. But that's always been a problem. It happens more often than not. There's all kinds. It's like the food stamps. The EBT card. But I never understood why why it wasn't a picture ID. And I know people that did this shit. They take their EBT card, loan it to their friend. They'd say, "I'll give you $100 worth of food for $50 worth of drug money or drugs," and they let the friend take his EBT card and go buy the food of his choice. Well, you couldn't do that if you had your picture on the card. And of course, if you weren't that person, they wouldn't sell you. They wouldn't let you buy food. I don't know why they didn't do that, but they didn't. Even when they were using the fake money back when the first time I ever got food stamps, I got them for like 2 months. I was having some financial issues. I was married with kids at the time, and I needed food for the kids. But we had the paper money. Looked like we called it the monopoly money. Even then, there were some retailers that would trade the food stamp dollars for real dollars. They weren't supposed to, but some of them did it. Either way, they didn't lose. But it was highly illegal, and it still happened. And of course, you could sell your monopoly money for real money to somebody that needed food, but whatever reason, usually like 50 to 1. So if you had $100 in food stamps, guy would give you $50 cash for them. He came out ahead in the deal, but you got the money. And that still happens today. It's very common. Let's see. Damn, it jumped on me again. Just think, being 300 might be scary in a different way. It depends how you age. I mean, supposedly in Bible times, Noah and all them other guys, famous people, they lived to be 900 years old. Adam was supposed to be over 900 years old. Was he really? I have no idea. I wasn't there. The story goes that God got fed up with the long age span, and he cut their ages down because they became corrupt, which kind of makes sense. Could you imagine being around for 900 fucking years? I mean, it'd be cool as shit. I'd do it in a heartbeat. You really didn't get old until you were probably like 500 or 600 years old. And you start showing your age. But even when you were 900, you were still mobile and your brain still worked. I mean, I would do it. What the fuck, DD214. I couldn't remember. I still have his DD214, but I had to go. I had to go to the VA's office and get it because I went to the. It's just fun. It's kind of fucked up. One hand doesn't know what the other's doing. I had him buried at the Veterans Cemetery. Well, he was cremated first, and they buried his urn and ashes in Sarasota at the VA cemetery. They had to see the DD214 before they let him be buried there. You'd think they would be able to bring it up on the computer and say, okay, he's good to go. But no, they're kind of backwards. Did you miss the rant? No, there really wasn't one. And it jumped on me again, damn it. Yeah, I guess we are ranting in a way, aren't we? Yeah, Moses, they all did. They all lived incredibly long. Well, shit, they spent 40, what was it, Moses spent 40 years wandering around the fucking desert because, he wouldn't stop and ask for directions. A little bit of levity there, right? But seriously, 40 years in the desert, And he was good till he went up the damn mountain. He came back an old man because, I guess when he saw God, he aged like, boom, 100 years right there. Because he went up there with dark hair and came back white. But still, I mean, they all live crazy years, but, whatever. Let's see. Tom says, in the store the other day, a guy and his wife in front of me and mine had 3 baskets of food. I saw the register total $1,458. The wife gave her EBT card and the balance was $32. Wonder how they scammed it. Wow. Well, like I said, you can get crazy money. Depends how many kids you got. And there are some people that were told that they only give you like up to 4 kids. If you have more than 4 kids, you're shit out of luck. That's bullshit. If you got 20 fucking kids, you're going to get enough food to feed all 20 of them fuckers. That's the way it works. They just don't like to advertise that because, people might get pissed. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's taxes for you. Well, like I said, it's kind of fucked up. All right, Todd, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. We'll see you next time. So, like I said, it's kind of a messed up deal, but it is what it is. At least Trump's trying to fix it. I think maybe within 2 years we might be way better off. But right now, I think it's going to be a tough road to walk on, maybe. Like I said, if they can, the first thing for me is getting rid of property taxes. If they do that, I'm good to go. That's going to be $1,300 in my pocket every year instead of to the fucking government. I don't pay IRS taxes because I've never made enough. I thought I was going to have to pay this year, but I did the form, and I'm showing I'm still at 0, so good to go. Which is a good thing because I didn't want to have to pay them either. I haven't paid them a fucking nickel since 07, since I got disabled, and I shouldn't have to pay them now. It's ridiculous. It is welfare, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think that's true too, Tom. I think it's going to get better, like I said. And the biggest issue that they're really fighting Trump on this shit. I said you got judges on you can't stop the illegal transactional money to our enemies and shit. And any judge that says that should be disbarred and taken off the bench immediately, possibly even jailed, maybe even hung, because he's a fucking traitor. And same with the politicians. If any politicians bitch, we should investigate them, find out where they got their money from. And if it wasn't legitimately made, they should get the hanging rope too. I'm just saying. So anyway, that's that. Are you taking off, Andy? All right, have a good one, man. Or are you taking off? I'm not sure. Oh, Gerald, have a good one too, man. Thanks for popping in. So, I've been having talks with my wife. She's a stubborn woman. She really is. I want her to come back home. She might, possibly. Problem is, it might be a while. And I told her, I said, that's really not good for me. I want you back here now. And she says she wants to stay till her daughter has her baby, which is in the end of April. I said, that's a long fucking time to be without a wife. So I don't know what's going to happen. It's hard telling. In some ways, I just want to walk away. And in other ways, I'm thinking, well, yeah, I love the woman. I've spent 27 years with her. Is it really going to kill me to lose her for 3 months? I mean, in a way it will, but then, I don't know. Are you still here, Andy? Okay, cool. I wasn't sure there. Everybody got somebody saying goodbye and whatever. So I don't know what the hell's going to happen. Like I said, She's up in Michigan. That's a long ways away. She can't drive anymore because her eyes are fucked up. And I want her to come down here and get her eyes fixed. She doesn't know what she's going to do. I says, well, you can take a chance up there, but we have a doctor down here in Naples that can do the job correctly because they did on me, you know, and no fuck ups ever. You go somewhere else, who knows? And that's the last thing you need to do is go fucking blind. So I don't know what's going to happen. It's a big fucking mess, I guess, you know. And of course, you know, it's partially my fault anyway because I was being a real dick. But, you know, the thing with me is I learn from my mistakes, you know. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life and I've corrected all of them as I find out what they are. And sometimes you don't see the mistakes you make and somebody has to point them out for you and they have to do something drastic in order to point that out. And that's exactly what happened here. Still bullshit, but it is what it is. So, I don't know what's going to happen. We'll find out. In the meantime, here I am. Me and my dog. And my other dog, Roxy, I was letting her out every day. She'd usually stick around on the front porch and do her business out there, which was no big deal. I'd rather have her do it out there than in the house because that's what she was doing before. Well, I let her out the other day and I got tied up with something and then I went to look for her and I couldn't find her. Never did find her. I think she ran off and fucking died probably. Or the hawk got her, I'm not sure which. She was pretty frail, so a hawk could have conceivably saw that and grabbed her and took off with her because I can't find her body anywhere. And I've looked the whole neighborhood, been watching for the vultures to see if, you know, they'll usually point out if something died. No vultures, no body, so I don't know where the fuck she is or what happened to her. But she was pretty old. She was 17. I just wish I'd have known that she was going to die because I would have rather had her die in the house. I could have buried her out back. I was going to have her put to sleep, except that they wanted, cheapest I found was $175. And I still had to bring her home, which wouldn't have been a problem. They wouldn't cremate. If I wanted her cremated, it would have been $320 for a 15 fucking pound dog. I don't think she was probably 10 by then. What a bunch of shit, man, you know. I'll fucking needle when they want that kind of fucking crazy money. So unfortunately, she's gone. So it's just me and Pogo and 4 cats. But the cats are outdoor cats except for the big black one whose name is Jack. He comes in every now and then. I feed him all anyway, but he likes to come in the house and then he goes back out. So, and that's just, like I said, it is what it is. But James says I need money for trains. Yeah, we all do. Of course, my budget on trains now is to be cut very, very low because until I get the place rented out, and even then, I told my wife, I says, you know what? I said, tell you what I'll do. You come back home, I'll give you half the profit from the guest house because I wasn't giving her anything before, and she used to bitch about it. I said, I'll give you half the money from that. And I'll even give you maybe 100 or 2 out of my check. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. I mean, I have no problem with doing it. But I was hoping that might entice her to come back sooner, you know. So it's gonna cut my budget on train, which is fine. You know, I'm at the point I don't even fucking care. You know? If it takes me longer to get this shit done, that's all well and good. I mean, what am I gonna, if I actually finish the place, then what? You know, I mean, the reality is, and you guys probably know, if anybody's ever finished their layout, which I know doesn't happen often, you kind of get bored with it, you know. Half the fun of having a layout is building the motherfucking thing. So, you know, really, I don't care if it takes me, if I live another 10 or 15 years, and it takes me that long to maybe nearly complete it, that's fine, you know. Because that's the best part for me is the the construction part, you know, building things, making new buildings, laying new track, you know. I mean, you get bored after a while just watch them going around and around. So we'll see how that works out. Ray says, if I was on the up and up, she would have talked to you before walking out. Well, I said the same thing. I told her, I said, you should have sat my ass down and said, look, either we get this shit fixed or I'm out of here. You know, at least I would have had a heads up and I would have took care of it. But I didn't get that chance. But that's the way women always do things. They always run away. You know, it's just their nature, I guess. Yeah. So we'll see. I said I'm not going to worry about it. It's just I hope she comes back, but if she don't, then she don't. It'll be her loss, right? More so than mine, maybe. I don't know. Tom says, Jim, I have not seen Barbara for over 2 weeks. Now her dog knocked her down to the ground and she cracked her kneecap. Has a big brace and cannot drive. Hard to move. We FaceTime every day, which helps. That sucks. That woman's becoming a calamity, man. You may have to change her to Calamity Barbara. There you go, James and Jim, one day at a time. Absolutely. It's hard when you get older. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I told my wife the same thing. I said, I realize she does a lot for me and for herself too. But I sometimes, I told her, you need to slow down. You jump up on ladders and chairs and shit. The first time you fall, maybe the last. Don't do that shit. It's not worth it. If you need help, then you call me and I'll help you somehow. Even I don't do stupid shit like that. I mean, not so stupid, but it's dangerous. My mother-in-law did that. She's fallen 3 or 4 times, climbing up a little step ladder or a step stool and, fell off of it. Because it fucking happens. When you get old, shit goes wrong. And you have to pay attention. I'm very, very aware of the falling. I mean, I've only fallen a couple of times, my own stupidity, like I said, not paying attention. I got lucky, it didn't break nothing, didn't even bruise anything. But it only takes once to get fucked up, You break a hip, your odds of surviving that are really small. So you want to protect your hips at all costs. So, everybody has to start slowing down. Like I said, you get to a certain age, you realize you can't do the shit you used to. And you've got to find safer workarounds or find somebody else to do it for you. Ray says, in Cali now, they want a death certificate and burial in a pet cemetery. I grew up on a ranch, a shovel and backhoe works for me. Well, that's what we used to do. But, even down in Naples, there was a woman on the next street over, her dog passed, and she buried it in her backyard and actually built a monument. Headstone and everything. It was beautiful. I mean, probably spent a couple $1,000 on it. She got in a bunch of shit with code enforcement. Well, you can't bury your animals in your backyard. Why the fuck not? Good thing they never came to my house. I got a whole bunch of animals buried in my yard. Just never bothered to put markers up for them, I mean, dogs, cats, rabbits, guinea pigs, everything dies at some point, And like I said, back in the day, cremation really wasn't even an option. You took your animal, your pet, and you dug a hole in the backyard. You placed them in there and filled it over, and that was it, Another thing's got burial at sea, in the toilet, like goldfish and shit, They used to call that burial at sea. It was kind of funny, but now they don't even want you doing that shit. It's fucking stupid. Tom says, Jim, I just watched a video today of a guy. It took him 27 years to build and finish his layout. Very, very interesting to see, I'll bet. Like I said, if it takes that long, so what? I mean, I want to enjoy running trains and stuff in the meantime, but like I said, I think if you actually got to the point where you got up one morning and walked into your train shed or your train room or whatever and say, okay, it's finished. I don't have to do anything else. I can just run trains now. You're going to get bored with that. Trust me, I know you will. You know. And that's why a lot of guys wind up, like do refits and they'll tear up a section and redo it because that's half the fun is the building of it. Ray says, I like watching trains go roundy round. I like switching too. Well, switching gives you something to do, but once again, I think at some point you're going to get bored with it. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong, but for me. Hey, let's see, who's it? Floyd Robbins. How you doing, Floyd? Good to see you here. Joe says, I don't want any of mine to come back. What, your exes or your pets? Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I called them and they quoted me $120, $125, and I had to take the pet back. And I said, that's just too much. I mean, I would have done it for 50, maybe less. All you're doing is you're just murdering the animal with a needle. That's what I mean. I had Buddy put down. I think that whole affair, I had him put to sleep, cremated by himself, not with the other dogs. And I think that whole thing cost me $230 or $240. Wasn't too bad. And I had Turbo put down. He'd already died, so all I had to do was cremate him. Same deal. Got his ashes back. And I think that was only 130 maybe. The prices went up on everything. And like I said, and those were big dogs. Buddy was 55 pounds. Yeah, 55 pounds. Turbo was about 50 pounds. Roxy, like I said, if I don't even think she was 15 pounds because she was literally shriveling up. Probably closer to 12 or 13. And that's just ridiculous fucking money. Because that was what I was ready to do that the day before she ran off. I was going to take her down and have her, put to sleep. And I started calling around. I'm going, you got to be fucking kidding me. And part of the problem was, I guess, at least that's what they claim, she wasn't registered with any of them places where Buddy was. No, Turbo wasn't either, actually. But Buddy was. Because I had Buddy worked on at the Sebring pet hospital. And I think he got shots. Maybe Turbo did too, at the one in Lake Placid. But Roxy'd never been to a vet up here. She couldn't go to a vet. Last time we tried to get her a rabies shot was about, I think, 8 or 9 years ago. And she started seizing up as soon as we brought her into the building. We had to get her the hell out of there. Even the vet said, she's not going to be able to get her shots anymore. Well, she's too old anyway. So, no, but she wasn't registered with anybody up here. And that supposedly counted against me, too. And it's all horse shit when you get down to it. Let's see. Tom says, I think there's always ways to improve scenery in my layout so that will keep. Yeah, that's true. I said there's always things you can do, little changes here and there, and we all do that just to keep it interesting. Like I said, a lot of guys they may take up a section and redo it, or change things up a little bit, scenery change. Lots of things you can do. I mean, once you get the bulk of it done, that's the main thing. Like your bench work, you should get that finished pretty quickly, and all your tracks should be down. But the rest, yeah, it's all fluid. So I think that's what would keep us busy to be able to do those things over the years, Ray says, true. Why do we have to pay to bury a pet but my wild bunnies when I don't see them? I figure they left and the hawk got them. And yes, I do find carcasses around my yard. Nature works magic as intended. Well, that's true. That's why I said, we have 2 hawks here. And they're pretty fucking big. And it's very possible that, because Roxy never strayed out of the property. She'd always stay in the yard, Have a big yard, almost 2 acres. But still, she stayed in the yard and usually close to either the house or the guest house. So I think something seen her, grabbed her, and that was the end of that. You know, I feel bad about it because, I mean, there's no easy or good way to die, I guess, but her mind was gone. She was deaf and blind, mostly blind anyway, and completely deaf. And of course, like I said, I think she had doggy dementia. You just walk around in circles and shit. She had no idea what the hell was going on. So it's very possible that maybe, you know, either the hawk got her or she just decided to, go off. And a lot of times an animal, when it thinks it's going to die, it'll go off somewhere and do it privately. I don't know. We'll never know. I said I searched. I couldn't find the body anywhere. Let's see what else. So, like I said, it's been an interesting year. Not necessarily in a good way, but it's been an interesting year. I said I don't know. It's just the good news is I've been forced to do some things by myself. Before I relied on Debbie to do a lot of things for me because, I call it laziness on my part, and it was just easier to have her do it. And I find myself, I have to take the trash out every week. Not that big of a deal, but it's still an issue, because nobody else is going to do it. I have to wash the floors in the house. I have to do this. I have to cook. I mean, it's not things that I'm not completely capable of doing, just things that I didn't think I needed to do anymore. Well, I imagine if the wife does come back, I'll be forced to do those things anyway, except for maybe the cooking part. I'll let her cook, but taking out the trash and stuff, that may be my responsibility from here on in. And I'm okay with that. But we could have sorted all this shit out before she left. And I don't know why people always got to leave and go far, far away. If you leave and you stay like close by, you can always reverse that in case, you get things fixed up or whatever. My first ex did the same thing, She left, she went from Florida to Ohio. Of course, she was trying to hide from me. Of course, I didn't find her because I didn't even know. I mean, I knew she left. She left 3 of my kids behind, took the one. Didn't take anything with her. I didn't know. I mean, I actually thought she might have been kidnapped or something. I actually filed a police report as a missing person. It took me 2 weeks to track her down. But, why did you go that far away? Why not just go across the town or something? And people always get this idea that I'm going to be violent. I'm not a violent person. I mean, if you fuck with me, yes, I'm going to defend myself, but I may have to fuck with you back. Never laid a hand on a woman. I don't do that sort of thing. If you got to beat them, you need to find another one, and you don't need to beat. Because if you beat a woman, you just ruin her anyway. She'll never do what you want or do anything for you of her own accord because she'll be in constant fear of you. I mean, I know a lot of guys that beat their wives, their girlfriends, whatever. That's just not my thing. So, I mean, there's really no way. Even my mother-in-law, when she left, she called me over. She said, you probably figured out I'm moving out, which I kind of knew she was going to anyway. I didn't think my wife would go with her. But I knew she was planning on moving. Like I said, U-Haul was there and all that. I said, well, and she paid me rent. It was like the second of the month, and she gave me that month's, this month's rent. I go, well, if you're leaving, why'd you pay the rent? Oh, I don't want any problems. What fucking problems were you expecting? I mean, I kept the fucking money because, fuck her, right? But the reality is, she was out of fear of something and for no reason. I didn't give a fuck whether she moved or not, That's some fucked up shit, and that's what I said. That's why nobody understands women. They don't think they understand themselves. So, like I said, it is what it is, but stuck again. All right, guys, doggy time. All right, thanks, Joe. Go have fun with your dog, and we'll see you next time, man. Thanks for popping in. Tom says, Jim, enter my world. I do that every day in my home. Well, of course. Oh, well, because you live alone, you know. And that's fine if you're okay with that. Plus, but you're able-bodied too, you know. Now, there's some things I simply cannot do, you know. All right, here's an example, okay? Ugh. If I get my leg up that high. No, I can't. I'm wearing shoes, but I can't wear socks because I can't put the fucking things on. You know? I can get them off, but I can't put them on. The shoes I could take on and off. I figured out a way around it. I could do it. But I can no longer wear socks. You know? The fucking legs just don't bend like they used to. Stupid shit like that is, you know. Haven't taken a real shower in weeks. I've taken what I call a horse bath. You know. Sponge bath and wash my hair in the sink. Because my shower's kind of dangerous. Yeah, I got the bars in there and stuff, but the floor is really, really slippery. And I don't trust myself being in there by myself. So, you know, I'm going to fix that. I'm going to try and find some stuff to put on the floor. Either some anti-skid paint or the anti-skid tape thingies, you know, that you put down there, appliques or whatever. I'll fix the problem and I'll be able to use it, but just I haven't gotten around to it yet, you know. And like I said, it's just, all right, Floyd, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. I gotta suction that down, but I'll tell you what, that fucking thing still slips. I bought one from Temu. It's about the average size of a throw carpet, you know. And it sticks real good, but it still slides. That fucking shower stall is so slippery. I swear somebody waxed the fucker, you know. And I've got a long horizontal bar going on the back wall, and I've got a vertical bar near the sliding door. And believe me, I hang on to those things for dear life, even when I've got help in there. So I got to fix that. Of course, the floor in the bathroom is just as slick as the shower. You know, whoever built that shit, well, I guess it's probably built in 94 when the house was built. And they might not have had non-slip tile at that. Now they do. I'm not retiling shit because that's too much work. But like I said, I built showers for people, especially elderly people. And we got non-slip tiles for both the floors, the shower floor, and the regular bathroom floor. And they were just coarse enough to where you couldn't slide on. You know, like I said, I don't think they had that back in the day. So, yeah, grippy tape. There you go. Now I got to find some. Well, Deb got some of this. She got the tape. And I don't think the floor might not have been dry enough because it didn't stick real well. I'd have to get that floor absolutely scrubbed and absolutely dry. And I like to remember. I remember they used to put them in the bathtub. They look like flowers, you know, flat flowers. You throw them all over the fucking place, and they once they were down, they were down. I mean, you really couldn't even pick them back up. You know, I'm gonna see if I can find some of them somewhere. I'm sure they're still around. But like I said, I've had some challenges because, like I said, I'm not really prepared or used to live alone. You know. So I said, you know, I really would like her to come back. And not for that reason, because I miss her and I love her, you know. But still, she'd be a big help to me either way, you know, because. And I'm going to have to help her at some point. I mean, she's not getting any younger either. She's the same age as I am. And she's starting to break down a little bit. At least that's what she says. So obviously we're going to have to start helping each other, you know. Have to wait and see what happens. Anyway, guys, it's almost 8 o'clock. I think I'm going to run this up. Because I don't really have anything else to talk about. And they said I haven't done shit in here, really, as usual. The days go by, and I'm spending most of my day cleaning up outside. It's slow and challenging work, but it's got to be done. Because nobody's going to do it for me. All right, Andy, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in, and have a safe and good weekend, and we'll see you next week. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for me for today, and I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me and listening to my, sob stories. It is what it is. But anyway, everybody have a good weekend. Be safe. And Tom, you're gonna have a talk with Barbara. You got to get her to start straightening up her shit and not doing anything stupid, because it's only going to get worse from here on in. So is she gonna? Maybe she. Well, you've probably been alone too long. You don't want anybody moving in with you. But realistically, that might be a viable idea. You guys to live together, and then you can look out for each other. But that's up to you. That's your deal. All right, guys. Jim still winter up here, outside work in a couple of months from now. Yeah, that's true. I know it's cold. Same in Michigan's the same way, man. They still got shitty weather. But it is what it is, All right, guys. I'm going to run the outro, so we'll see y'all later. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week.